You're telling me that a curse conveniently given to the princess by some scary woman is conveniently too strong for the fairies to stop, yet the cure is love. That's the best the blue fairy could do? I don't buy it for a second. I think her existence itself is a cover-up for something far more devious. Hello, and welcome to my conspiracy theory. I've done a few of these in the past, and while every sane person on the planet has been trying to keep me out of the recording studio, I keep breaking back in. You guys really need to get better locks on this thing. I don't think there's any need to refamiliarize any of you with Sleeping Beauty. It has been a simplistic story and is a cult classic, especially considering the new options we're given. I will go over the finer details that this theory is dependent upon, so if it's been a while, no worries. I got you. Here's the thing, right? This all starts because Maleficent wasn't invited to a party. And now, I get it. I'm petty, but petty doesn't describe the level of jumping Maleficent has to do in order to curse the baby. The king and queen were the ones who didn't invite her. Wouldn't it make more sense to just kill them? I mean, consider how much revenge that would be. There's no clear aides or second in command to them, and killing them right when they finally received the baby they wanted to raise would have been good revenge. They'd have to leave their infant child alone in the world without ever getting to meet her biological parents. It would make more sense for her to target the people who had the balls not to invite her than the child that had nothing to do with it. And sure, getting revenge by hurting their beloved Aurora works as well. But why wait? Why let this curse take 16 years to activate, giving them time to bond with her before she was even taken away? Wouldn't it be far more cruel to take her life when she's an infant? Everyone in the opening scene sings about her being healthy and living a long life. Making Aurora sick and destined to die before she can even speak sounds far more cruel than giving her 16 years. The curse is suspicious. The reasons behind it are finicky at best, and we know Maleficent isn't dumb. She even gave the king and queen ample opportunity to lie and cover their asses for not inviting her. She knew she wasn't invited, but still was kind enough to give them room to rebound from their mistake. It's only when they double down does she hand out her curse. And when she gives the curse, she acknowledges that the other fairies have blessed her with song and beauty, fully aware that the third had yet to bless her, and still goes near numb with her curse instead of getting rid of the infant when it's still an infant. Unless, of course, this curse had other intentions. I don't think this curse was ever intended to kill Aurora. It has far too much leeway to be stopped when she's fully aware of that as well. It's almost as if she wants the curse to be afforded opportunities to be halted. And this is where my theory comes in. I think this entire curse, no, I think Maleficent herself is a trick, set up by the king and queen in order to facilitate control over the kingdom, trust in their rulership, and scam the other kingdom into an alliance. Let me explain. Let us imagine that you are the king and queen of this film. You have a stylish kingdom, sure, but you don't seem to have a lot of connections. Your kingdom is a bit small, surrounded by forests and maybe the occasional loose goblin. You need more command, and you need more trust from your people. You need an enemy. Someone to rally the people together. Someone you can beat that proves your competence as a ruler. A target. And who better to do so than a big, evil, scary woman with crows and magic? Someone who you can publicly stand up to by not inviting to the event, thus proving that you have enough of a backbone to protect your civilians and guests while in front of them. It's all a bit too convenient, am I right? But one kingdom in particular they want an alliance with. One to wed their daughter to, with the other heir, Prince Philip. A prince who doesn't seem too keen on marrying Aurora. Look at the way he looks down on her. He doesn't want anything to do with this baby or being married to it. Throughout the film, Prince Philip has shown repeatedly that true love triumphs over his royal duties. Prince Philip would choose to lose everything for true love instead of wallowing away in an arranged marriage. True love is an idealized belief many children have, so the prince must have been pretty vocal up until he arrived about his disinterest in his arranged marriage. Something that will bring this kingdom great benefits and advantages. So, the king and queen adjust course. Isn't it odd that the last fairy settles for true love's kiss to wake her? Out of every option, that is the one the blue fairy decides would work. Not a hug from her parents, or maybe if she was pricked on her finger by the spindle again it'd wake her, stepping on a Lego, anything. Nothing else really comes to mind for something that would have been extremely difficult to facilitate. Really, girl? Really? This is your first go-to? I don't buy it. This was a ploy from the parents to get Prince Philip more enthusiastic for the marriage and for Aurora. First, they had the fairies prime her up to be something Phil would be attracted to down the line, with the gifts of beauty and song, which is nice, sure, but surely they could have given her better gifts. I personally prefer the gift of guaranteed happiness, or guaranteed free time. Feels a little sketchy, I'm just saying. So once a princess is cursed, and the curse just so happens to be averted by a specific romantic way, the princess is taken away by the fairies out into the woods to be raised. Raised in the very woods Prince Philip finds himself in later. The very location that he has easy access to on the way to the other kingdom. All the while, the fairies raise Aurora to be the exact type of person he instantly falls head over heels for. And, at the same time, is level-headed enough to sweep back into the kingdom and manage his politics the moment she's reintroduced to society. That is why they have the princess leave, instead of simply raising her. She's already cursed, you might as well get to know your daughter before she passes away. Yet they had her taken out of the kingdom and raised remotely, practically being forced to caretake for her own caretakers. She learns how to optimize her singing abilities, manages to conveniently meet the prince who falls head over heels for her, and learns how to manage difficult people and to become mature. All the while, the kingdom's subjects await her return to the point where they all celebrate together. And while her true parents are kept a secret from her, that works out in her favor. She learns to be humble, learns what peasants have to experience on a day-to-day basis, and also grows to love nature. Her parents likely had the fairies reporting back to them regarding her health and interests so they wouldn't miss out on their daughter growing up. They had magic and animals that listened to her. They could have just sent a dove with a letter on it. When Aurora grows up and reaches her 16th birthday, the king and queen call her back in order to show her off to the population. They've probably been trying to put it off for a while, but their plan hasn't fully come to fruition yet. Aurora still hasn't been kissed by Prince Philip, and they want to bring her back on a massive celebratory day, which would be her birthday, which they wouldn't have even risked if the curse was a real threat to her. Doesn't it seem odd that they would deliberately bring her back on the day that her curse was supposed to activate, instead of waiting it out? And this is where the plan gets sticky. You see, Prince Philip and Aurora need to be pushed into proving their love, specifically Prince Philip himself. If he was going to become the next king of the kingdom, the monarchs needed to know that not only would he take care of himself, but also willingly lay down his life in order to save Aurora. That is why Maleficent kidnaps him and leaves him alive. He needed to be put into a terrifying situation, but prove that he would still choose Aurora regardless of all that. I believe that Aurora's growth through difficulty was her parents putting her through 16 years of living as a peasant suddenly turned princess. The prince had to go through his own trial after Aurora has already completed hers, in order to shape him into a more firm leader who has gone through a terrifying situation for the woman he loves. That is why Maleficent kidnaps him instead of killing him, and that's why she fights him and lets the other fairies aid him. This was just all a trial the king and queen put him through, to make sure he was suited for their daughter. All of this is a staged test to ensure they picked out the right guy. Once he proved himself by standing up against the dark fairy and killing her, relatively easy, might I add, they accepted him into their family. Happily ever after. Now that I've set the groundwork for why they did all of this, you may be wondering who Maleficent even is. She's very clearly a person, albeit a person who is in an evil disguise, who is working for the king and queen. Is she a random hire? Someone from another kingdom? A secret aunt or something? I mean, the only magical beings we see in the movie besides her are the fairies. Hold on a second. Isn't there a fairy that has the exact same color of magic as a dark fairy? Or what about the fact that when the blue fairy starts going ham on Maleficent, the green fairy defends her? Or what about the fact that the red and blue fairy continuously butt heads and the green fairy easily fades into the background? And how the green fairy is the one who consistently jabs at the blue fairy, just like how Maleficent does? What if she was the acting double for Maleficent, keeping an illusion version of herself whenever she was in one specific form? And for those of you who argue that the good fairies can only perform magic for good, that's a fat lie they tell on camera. We see some of their magical abilities, such as granting the prince a more powerful weapon, or, I don't know, granting sentience and consciousness to an inanimate object before stripping that away just so it can do your chores. So yeah, these powers aren't strictly obligated towards good. Even being able to grant a weapon and any ability to hurt others wouldn't fall under the umbrella. And this is where the final part of that test comes in. The blue fairy is the only one who goes against Maleficent to her face, and is obviously the most callow of the group. I don't think she's in on it. And this is where the final part of the cover story regarding the evil dark fairy comes to fruition. Not only are they training the next rulers and teaching their subjects to trust them, but they are also training the next fairy. After all, she is the one who pushed to try and think of a witch to avoid a tragedy. She also is the one that has to learn to quell her outbursts, like the one that caused Aurora to be cursed in the first place. And once she's proved herself, the elder two fairies would reveal the secret, would implement her to begin training the next fairies that would work for the next monarch, with her as the eldest. And while this does conflict with what I proposed earlier, let's consider it this way. The fairies have been likely told high and low about this engagement between the prince and princess, and the blue fairy never revealed her original wish. What if her original wish for the princess had been true love? And that was why she settled on true love's kiss for the curse, because it was already on her mind. This whole situation was just training for the next generation to be prepared for a crisis. All the while, the kingdom benefits greatly from this situation. They get their subjects to trust them deeply, a marriage that is going to make connections with another kingdom, have the youngest fairy trained. All the while, their daughter and her true love were raised to be caring, respectful people who trust one another with their lives. This is why Maleficent never existed in the first place. The concept of her is a hoax concocted by the king and queen with the aid of the two eldest fairies in order to gain more control, wealth, and trust in the kingdom. Thanks for watching everyone, and have a nice day.